Hey guys, welcome back. So today I thought that I would do an unboxing of the new Miele Boost. This is new to me at least. I know it's been out for probably a little bit, but I just finally got one in and I'm unboxing it for the first time. And so I figured I would record my initial thoughts on it. And so all I've done so far prior to recording was I turned it on and checked the suction, and then I tested out the steerability of it just to kind of have somewhat of an understanding when I was talking. But basically, I'm going to go through it and kind of give you my thoughts as I'm walking through more of the finer details. And I hope this is helpful and instructive for anyone that might be looking into one of these machines for purchase. All right, so first of all, this is the Miele Boost CX1 Parquet, which just is the model. I think it just indicates the model that comes with the Parquet twister. So we'll start there. This floor tool is what's called the Parquet twister, and it's special and unique because it can pivot completely sideways. So this is a helpful tool because when you're vacuuming on your floors, it's for hard floors only, so there's no like wheels and no carpet capabilities on this tool. But when you're vacuuming on your floors and you get to a place like a tight space, then you can pivot it sideways and you can kind of go flat and get down and get into tight spaces. So especially like beside toilets is what I always like to mention to people. When you're vacuuming in a bathroom, there's always that one space beside the toilet that you can never get to. So this is really nice for that. So a lot of people love this attachment. There are other iterations of this tool. So if you bought a Miele without one, you can still get an attachment like this. Of course, you can buy the Miele version, and then there's other attachments that exist that are similar to this with that feature, that articulating sideways feature. So that's a great tool. And then it does also come with the combination tool as well. So this is going to be like the standard tool. If you bought a Boost model that's not the Parquet model, then you would get this attachment probably only, is what I'm guessing. And this attachment is less capable as for getting into tight spaces because it doesn't articulate sideways, but it does give you some ability to vacuum a rug. And this isn't going to give you much cleaning for rugs because there's no brush roll, there's no spinning agitator. So it's not going to do a great job on your rugs, but it's perfect for those like woven rugs or also rugs that might be so thick, like a really shaggy rug or a wool rug that literally nothing with a revolving brush would work on anyways. So so this attachment does have some use in the carpet mode, and you just flip it like that down where the bristles come out. That would be for your floors, and then you flip it up here like that for carpets, and that retracts the bristles so you can vacuum some sort of rug. And like I said, you're going to be limited with how well and deep this will clean a rug. It's not going to vacuum deeply or agitate or anything like that. It won't get sand out of the base of a rug, but it will give you some surface cleaning. It might be helpful for certain types of rugs. So it comes with that tool as well. And then it comes with your other standard Miele attachments. So your crevice tool, upholstery tool, and then this dusting brush, which I always point out, it does articulate, so it turns sideways, which can be helpful for certain dusting applications. So it goes straight, almost straight, and then it goes to almost a 90-degree turn. Well, almost a full 90. Then they have the standard stainless steel telescoping wand. I've always liked these. They just feel really sturdy and firm. And then one thing I appreciate about Miele is they have a standard 35 millimeter attachment. So any 35 millimeter attachment can fit on a Miele. Any attachment that you get with any other Miele will fit on this one. So if you have a Miele cordless, if you have any other Miele in the past, the attachments are all interchangeable. So that's something that's really nice, that some companies don't do that. Okay. A couple other things that I was going to point out. Just this tag came on here, so it's got the Vortex technology track drive. I want to talk about the track drive. This was interesting. I pulled this along, and this is talking about the wheel system here. So it's got these nice big nice really large wheels here on the side. Now what's interesting here is you see that there's a straight wheel right here, so like a fixed wheel in the back, and then a swivel caster wheel here in the front. Now, when I was pulling it along the floor, I noticed that these wheels are not all on the same plane. So these wheels actually are sticking out further than these two wheels. So basically what happens is the machine, when you lift it up to pull it, it actually pivots up, and then it tracks on that back wheel that basically steers it straight. It wants it to steer straight, so it kind of pulls in the direction that you're pulling it at, and it doesn't like squiggle off and turn where it wants to go. Then once you let go of it, if you're turning it like sideways motion, it is activate. It's actually on the weight of the machine is staying down, and it stays on the front swivel caster wheel, and then it's steerable in that case. So that's that new, what they call the track drive feature, and I think that's pretty cool. We'll see how it works. I mean, time is kind of the big tester for things like this, as to if it's a really nice feature that everybody loves. Miele is known for testing things quite thoroughly, so I think they probably have a good confidence in this design being a good one. Now, this is smaller and more compact than their other bagless model, which frankly didn't sell. I carried, I think, 1 or 2 of those models in stock, so I never reordered more because it was just too heavy. And so this is basically the Miele's response to the feedback, which is always nice, that a company is responding to feedback. So we struggled to sell those machines because they were really heavy. This is their response, and I think they've done a great job getting it more compact and making it easier to pull around and lighter weight feeling with this wheel design. So that's definitely a response to the older design of the Blizzard. Now, what's interesting here is the hose plugs in, and right here we actually have the exhaust filter. So that's pretty interesting. Normally on vacuum cleaners, like canister vacuum cleaners, the exhaust is on the back. So this is kind of reverse, which is interesting. I've never seen that. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where the exhaust, maybe a Dyson or two, where the exhaust comes out the actual front of the canister in the area where the hose plugs in. But I'll look at it. So this is a new HEPA filter. So this is a different HEPA filter than any other Miele, but it is a Miele HEPA filter, which means it's going to be a very high efficiency filtration machine. It's got a high efficiency filter, and it's going to be like a true HEPA filter, and it's got a really nice, good quality rubber gasket around the outside, so it's going to be really well sealed. So I've always been very impressed with Miele's sealed filtration. It clicks in nicely. It's very easy, very user-friendly to get to. So that should be a filter that you can expect to replace maybe every 4 or 5 years is what I would guess. There's a parking dock right here, which is great. Point out that feature. That is a really useful feature because if you're vacuuming, neither of these tools will stand upright. So if you need to stop vacuuming, then you have to just lay this on the ground if you need to stop, if you have to put it down, or if you have to switch over to a dust brush, for instance. Now, in this case, the dusting brush, if you were to switch over to another tool, you don't have to lay this down. You can just slide this tool here. Oh, hit my camera. You can slide this tool right here, and it parks. So, and then as you're moving, you can just actually keep it with you. So then when you switch back over, you can just grab it. You can also park, if you have to turn the vacuum off, you can also just park it in here, and then you don't have to lay the hose and the handle and stuff on the floor. So that's a great feature. A lot of people don't know about that feature, so I'm always trying to point that out because it's a great feature. All right, so here on the top, we do have a nice carry handle as well, and it's got a moderate weight. It's probably not the lightest canister, but for what it is, it's pretty comparable to like the Dyson DC39, which is like a canister bagless vacuum cleaner. It's probably no heavier than that. Now here on the top, we've got our settings here, so our just different controls. So you've got your on-off switch, and then we've got our cord retractor button there, and then we have our variable speed. So this is something that is probably unique for a bagless vacuum cleaner because I've never seen a Dyson that has a variable speed feature. So with Dyson, you're pretty much stuck with full suction, which isn't always the best setting to have your vacuum on, because if you're doing things like dusting, then full suction is actually kind of annoying. So you're just trying to vacuum up like delicate dust particles in areas, and so you can't control the suction in that case. And so being able to control the suction, lower it down to a more delicate level is very helpful for applications like dusting, you know, on a desk or on countertops, dusting windowsills and dusting on, you know, blinds, shutters, things like that. Being able to control the suction is really nice. So basically it's just this dial on the top, turn the machine on, and you can just click it over from minimum all the way to max. And it's a very quiet machine. Of course, all Miele's are pretty much very quiet. The other settings basically are here for carpet and rug applications. So if you did have a rug that you were trying to vacuum on with this machine, then you can turn the suction down a little bit more for that. You do also have the ability to relieve the suction. So like that negative pressure, that grabbing force that the suction produces, you can back that off. So this machine can be very delicate by turning it down to the lowest suction level and then bleeding off some of the pressure with this opening here, and then you can actually dust a lot of surfaces very delicately with that. So that's all good. I like that there's a bagless vacuum cleaner, canister vacuum cleaner that has a variable speed feature. So because I'm not sure, maybe if you know of one in the comments, please let me know. But I'm not aware of any off the top of my head that exist. So for customers that really want a bagless vacuum cleaner, but they also like variable speed, this is going to be a great vacuum for you. All right, now, real quick, just to kind of talk about bagless versus bag. The way I explain bagless versus bag these days is that if you have more time than money, then go with bagless. If you have more money than time, then go with bagged. That's as simple as I try to make it for my customers. In terms of filtration efficiency, I think the technology has gotten to the point where you can get, this machine will probably give you just as efficient filtration as the equivalent bagged model. Now the power level is the same. I tested the suction and it's the same. So you're not going to compromise on cleaning performance by going with one or the other. So it's just a matter of convenience at this point. So if, you know, with the bag vacuum, you're going to have the cost of the bags, but basically you don't have to do any maintenance after that. So there's no cleaning necessary as long as the bag is always put in properly and stuff like that. There's always that to talk about. There's been plenty of people that have gotten dirt inside their vacuum cleaner that takes a bag because they just never put it in properly. So assuming it's put in properly and it's the right bag, you can have a vacuum that runs very cleanly and basically the bag is doing all the work of containing all the dust and the dirt, and then you just simply pull it out and put a new one in and you're done. Whereas with a bagless vacuum cleaner, there's a little bit more work involved. You need to dump it out. You need to make sure this stays clean. There's a filter that you need to wash. And you need to do that like somewhat routinely. Okay. So whereas with a bag vacuum cleaner, it's maybe 2 to 3 months, maybe, for an average person, maybe less than that if you have a lot of pet hair and stuff. But, you know, a lot of bag vacuum cleaners won't get filled up until, 2 months, even 3 months in some cases. So, especially if you have a cordless vacuum cleaner that you use for like day to day, or if you, have like a robotic vacuum or something like that. A lot of times people have multiple vacuums, So, like I said, really the difference is going to be preference. So if you prefer a bagless vacuum cleaner over a bag vacuum, you can still get a good filtration. But in the past, a bagless vacuum cleaner usually was not reaching the filtration standards of what bag vacuums could accomplish. So there still is some truth to that, depending on what vacuum cleaner you're looking at. Some bagless vacuum cleaners are still terrible for filtration, whereas most all bag vacuum cleaners, especially if they're using like allergen bags, are all good. You can't just assume that any bagless vacuum cleaner is automatically going to be an efficient filtration machine. So there's tons of those that exist still today. All right, but so looking at the dirt container here, let me just take it off. It's very easy to remove, which I like. That's good. You just lift up here and then pull it out. So that's great. I like that. So So now they've got the button down here on the bottom, so you just drop it out of the bottom, and then they've got this max line here, which doesn't appear to be much, but this is the vortex system, so it kind of spins it out and then it accumulates and it's going to pile up down at the bottom. And it's easy to dump out and it's wide open. You can also squeeze this here and then you can open this up, and that basically gets it completely wide open for you to clean it out. And then here in the front you have your access to the filter, and you've got a nice foam fine dust filter that's going to be washable with looks like a more dense foam material. That's going to capture, you know, your bigger particles, and then anything that makes it through there is going to get captured into this HEPA filter. And this is a washable filter, so sometimes I tell people that it's good to keep one of these as a spare, because if you wash this filter, they do want you to dry it for 24 hours. You can set it in front of a fan and it'll be dry in an hour. But if you wash it, then you can't use your vacuum cleaner until that filter is dry. So but yeah, you can take it apart. I like how easy it is to take apart, to get access to this screen inside and out. And then you can get access to this screen here, and you can just make sure that all these areas here stay clean, and you're going to get performance at all times for this machine. So something else to point out is they've made this gasket here replaceable, just as simple as that, which that's pretty cool. Sometimes the gaskets are very important to the performance and the filtration of the vacuum. And over time, you know, these gaskets can wear out and they can start leaking, and it looks like they've accounted for that, which is really cool. I like that. I've never seen that before, where you can actually replace a gasket. Oh, cord retractor. This is about a 30-foot cleaning radius. So I measured it, and it's giving me a little over 30 feet when I account for the length of the hose and the length of the wand and the tool and whatnot. So that's a pretty good cleaning radius. That's longer than their C1 models. Their C1 models are like around 27.5 feet, 28 feet cleaning radius. And that factors in the cord length and the hose and everything as well. As far as power is concerned, this Miele Boost model has the same amount of suction as any of their other models. This is one thing that I've appreciated about Miele, is no matter what model you get, you're going to get the same level of performance in regards to suction. So I'll just put it on a gauge. I can show you something interesting that happened. So first of all, it gets close to about 90 inches of water lift. Now, what you're seeing is the fluttering that you're seeing is that there's a design feature that this machine opens up a valve that once it reaches like peak pressure, there's a valve that opens up, and it actually allows to bleed air flow into the motor to prevent it from overheating as quickly. So in other words, if you had clogged the vacuum somehow, or if you never cleaned the filters, then it would trigger that valve to open up, release, and then it would open up so that some flow could still be pulled into the motor to cool itself so that it wouldn't overheat so quickly. Eventually, if you run it like that, it will overheat, and then you have to let it cool down. That about concludes my thoughts on this vacuum. I think it's a great machine. I think I'll sell a lot of them for customers that do want a bagless vacuum cleaner, that want a canister. And this is going to be a great vacuum cleaner, I think. And I've always been impressed with Miele and their quality. And this is a vacuum I think that you can buy and expect to have for 20 years, 20 years and longer possibly. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you appreciated it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.